reel them in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can influence everybody you touch. Not only current customers, but new customers. Heck, your spouse and your kids if you do this right. Dale Carnegie wrote in one of his books back in the 1930s, and I will quote from that book. He says, "I go fishing up in Maine every summer. When I go fishing up in Maine, I like to sit on the dock and I like to eat strawberries and cream. But I found for some strange reason, fish don't like strawberries and cream. Fish prefer worms. So when I'm hanging out in that dock up in Maine, I don't think about what I like. I instead think about what fish like. I don't bait my hook with strawberries and cream. Instead, I dangle a worm or a grasshopper in front of them and say, hey, which one makes most sense to you? Now, here's the cool thing about the principles being taught back in the 1920s and 30s. They still apply today when we get our meetings with our customers. So think about what he is saying. He's saying that when we fish for customers, or we have a current customer, we're trying to fish for additional products, maybe a new umbrella policy. We can't bait our hook with things that we like, but instead bait our hook with things the customer likes. Very, very important. And just because a policy, a product, a service is important to us doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be important to them. Let me tell you what I mean. Let's take this strawberry example. You see my little fisherman there? We have a strawberry. Well, what the strawberry is, let's say we've got a current customer who we're selling home and auto to, but they're perfect for an umbrella policy. And we set up that meeting through a referral, or maybe we set up our annual meeting and we sit down across the table and it's time to get that customer to bite on that strawberry, which is an umbrella policy. So we think through it. Logically, it makes sense for the client. Emotionally, I'm excited about selling this thing. I'm going fishing. I show up in that appointment 10 o'clock Tuesday morning. I've got my umbrella policy. It's time to put that on the pole. Well, here's where most salespeople blow it. They take this umbrella policy and their logic and emotion and that strawberry, and they start delivering it in the form of statements. And it might be like this. All right, Mary and Joe, I tell you, we've got you all set up. All the paperwork's done. Hey, by the way, Mary and Joe, I want to tell you some of the reasons why I think an umbrella policy is something you need to seriously consider. And what happens is we start delivering our value in the form of statements. We start telling them all the reasons why they need us and our product. But I will tell you, what I have learned is the greatest sales agents, the greatest salespeople, in fact, the greatest leaders don't talk that way. What they do is, in fact, they minimize the number of statements they make. Minimize the number of statements they make. And let me tell you what I mean. I want to take you back to your old high school class where you learn that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Same thing happens when we're sitting across the table of that customer and we start telling them all the reasons why they need us and our value, right? We start putting a statement to them, why they need us, and in their mind, in fact, what they are doing is they are developing a contrarian argument, right? So what is a contrarian? A contrarian is somebody who's disposed to taking an opposite opinion, somebody who's prone to opposing policies, opinions, accepted wisdom. In layman's terms, here's what it says. We've all had conversations with people who seem to disagree with everything we say, right? You might say, through a form of a statement, you know what, the weather's supposed to be beautiful on Friday. That's a statement. You know what the contrarian does in their brain? They think of something opposite. So they might say, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it might be nice on Friday, but I heard it's supposed to cloud up on Saturday, right? Now, you know that same person, if you said, hey, you know, I heard it's supposed to cloud up on Saturday, you know what they'd say? Yeah, but you know what? It's going to be beautiful on Friday, right? See, you've all known people like this. Most of us call them spouses, right? Right? But you think about this. Why is it that when we make statements to people, the first thing they're going to do in their brain is think of the opposite opinion? Why do people do this? I want you to think about it. Whose opinion do we love the most? Right? It's our own. So while we as the agent are telling the customer all of the reasons they need us and our solutions, whose opinion is it? Whose opinion is most important? So why do we do most of the talking?